Hey, welcome to a better version of you podcast. Myself here, Montrell Whitaker, my good friend Jamal Stevens. We just want to take some time to share a few of our thoughts and going into this new year, this 2020 season. Um, I have high expectation of what life is going to bring, even what God is going to provide in this upcoming season. But we can't expect for it to happen just immediately. Many times you have to learn to trust the process. Trusting the process for me really involves making sure that you've prepared yourself for whatever may come towards you in this new year. Everything may not be as great as you would think it would be, but it doesn't mean that if it starts bad that it has to end bad. What do you think
And I
about
think
that?
also a lot of times with trusting the process is we have our expected outcome, but we never consider the barrier to that outcome.
Oh, wow.
Uh,
Yeah,
I
right.
said before, a lot of times people do a vision board and they have their different vision of what they want, but they never consider the barrier.
Right.
And the barrier that we have is what causes us to lose faith in that process.
Right.
But it's a process. It's not a lateral transition. It's not you go from A to Z all of a sudden, but you got the letters in between. It's a process. Everything in life comes to a process. Clothes we got on today, we enjoy it, but somebody had to do the process of making our clothes.
Right.
We just had to do the process of making the money to go buy it.
Right.
And that was the process.
And the process of putting it on.
And putting it on. So everything in life revolves around a process and being able to not look at the obstacle, but remain focused on your goal, on whatever vision God has given you. I think that's my biggest thing on the process.
Okay, cool. Well, I heard several things that you said in it, and I think we're in the same vein. We're kind of on the same page. I heard you speaking to barriers. Let's elaborate a little bit more on that term, barriers. Barriers. To me, barriers could be any number of things that kind of prohibit or limit your ability to accomplish said goals that you've had set for your life. A barrier could be, you doubting your own ability. A
Mm-hmm.
barrier could be finance. A barrier could be the company of people that you keep. Every time you have a vision or a dream and you share it with your inner circle, they're speaking against it and casting doubt on something that you have purposed in your heart to do. And so barriers come in a number of ways. I would say this: when trusting the process, be careful who you share your dreams with,
Ooh, that's a
because
word.
because everyone isn't able to handle what you see, and the reason they can't see it is because it isn't their vision. It's your vision, it's your goal, it's your thing that you want to accomplish. And even though you may be so excited to just say it audibly, to say it verbally because you want to put it in the atmosphere, be careful with whom you put it in the atmosphere with, because everybody are not for you. Everybody are not excited about you having a vision to even pursue. There's tons of people in the world who would like to have a vision but can't even wrap their minds around who they are as a person.
Ooh.
And so people can be barriers, and not having the right resource, not having the proper training or abilities to facilitate the vision can be a barrier. So make sure before you shoot for your 2020 goals that you have everything in place that will facilitate the success of you achieving that goal.
I think one thing you said about people, sometimes we ourselves are our biggest barrier.
Right.
We don't have the mindset to comprehend what it is that God is trying to do in our own lives. And so we don't have that mindset. Anything that happens, we become a barrier to ourselves because we want things to line up. And if it don't line up, we get frantic. We break down, we have a meltdown. And so we have to come to that point where we're able to focus on our vision and not on those barriers and become our own hindrance. Um, Another thing you said about sharing things with everybody, you can't share everything with everybody.
No, man.
I think one of the best examples is Nehemiah. Nehemiah inquires about home, finds our home is just in ruin.
Right.
And God, he doesn't, think about it, he doesn't even come up with a vision first. He doesn't sit down and try to come up with a plan. He goes to God and God gives him a plan.
Definitely.
Gives him the vision. And
Definitely.
he still doesn't share it with anybody.
Right.
Goes into the city by night.
Yeah.
Investigate. Come back. And then later on, pieces by pieces, he begins to share that vision with those people that can handle it. And sometimes that becomes better sharing our vision with people who can't handle it. Doesn't matter who it is, whether it's family, spouse, children, everybody just can't handle your vision. And too often we share that with the wrong people, and it becomes a barrier. It's not always the woodpeckers on the outside, termites on the inside.
Oh, wow.
You know.
One thing you said about that, I like your reference of Nehemiah. Of course, he was challenged with rebuilding his homelands that had been savaged and ravaged and was just left in waste. And he did wait on God to give him permission and instruction.
Yeah.
He waited for permission and instruction. Sometimes our visions aren't successful because they aren't God permitted. It's something that you want to do, but what I've always done is before embarking upon a task that I was really passionate about, I asked God, is this something that's in your will for my life? You know, we have to be careful that we're not just doing things because they sound good, because they're the latest fad, because we can just get rich quick. The thing is that you set out to do in 2020 should have an integrity base to them. And they should be purposed by God, prescribed by God, so that when you work in that place, he can add what's needed to it. Because the reality is, in our own ability, we don't have enough strength. We don't have enough ability to accomplish these goals on our own. There has to be an agent, his spirit working behind the scenes that really pushes us. So you need permission, and then with his permission, he gives you instructions on how to do it, which eliminates a lot of that, those potential barriers that we're talking about. If you're doing it God's way, it'll keep a lot of those barriers at a minimum with what you're trying to do.
That's true.
Yeah.
That is so true.
And so it's all a process, man. You know, it's a process. Nothing worth having comes easy.
You got to dig for diamonds.
Yeah, you have to dig for diamonds. If you're gonna find something that's meaningful and beneficial, you're not just gonna find it most times just laying out there in the open. You're gonna have to do some soul searching and some real deep digging to find it. And then once you find it, you're gonna have to work even harder to maintain it.
And I think that's another thing a lot of people fall short on. We'll get it, but we don't maintain it.
Yeah.
It doesn't take a whole lot to really go get a car. If you got a little down payment, decent credit, you got to get a car. But you still got to do the maintenance on it.
Yes.
You still got to make sure the tires are there. Take care of your oil change, everything else that goes along with maintaining what you have.
Right.
A lot of times we get to that point, we grasp it, we get it, but we don't do the work to maintain it. And so in the process, sometimes we'll lose something because we didn't maintain what it was we went after. God will give you something, and he'll take it back for a season because you don't maintain it.
Yes.
And sometimes I think God allows us to work our process, get what it is, but then we realize I really wasn't ready for it. And so the process starts all over again, preparing yourself to really be ready for what it is. Sometimes you get things premature.
Right.
And when you get things premature, there's going to be problems. A baby that is born premature is going to have some problems. When you beg God for something, he'll go ahead and give it to you. It may come with problems. You're still in the process. The Bible says in the process of time. And we have to be able to trust that process. One of my favorite verses is, but we know all things work together for the
All
good.
things. Preached it last week.
It doesn't mean that everything happens going to feel good,
It's working.
but it's working together
Yeah.
for the good. I like to use the illustration of a cake. You know, I like cake. I mean, good red velvet cake.
Look at you.
Good red velvet cake.
Red velvet.
I'm not gonna
Nice.
eat flour by itself.
No, I can't do it.
I'm not gonna eat raw eggs.
No,
I'm
not
not
by
gonna eat
itself.
baking powder. I'm not gonna eat any of that stuff by itself. But when you mix it all up,
Right.
I eat the batter. But it's still not the cake.
Still not the case.
It's not the cake until it goes into the oven and set under pressure for a little while. That's the process of that cake. This individual ingredient doesn't taste good. But when you mix it up, it tastes better. But it's not really what you want until it goes under pressure.
It's not at its best.
It's not at its best. It got to be put under pressure. You know, tomorrow we're going to communion, our first communion of the year. We're going to taste the bread and the wine.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it started out as wheat.
Yes, sir.
It had to go through a process to get to the bread.
Yes.
Started out as grape.
Yes.
It had to go through a process to get the juice. And that process, the grape had to be crushed. The best of it had to be crushed in order for me to get that juice I wanted. In order for me to get that bread, that wheat had to be beaten and shifted and grinded. All of that stuff had to take place for me to get the best out of what I'm trying to get. And that's the process God takes us through sometimes. Sometimes it's a painful process.
It is.
But it's a needful process.
And it's beneficial. And one thing about that, I felt preaching in that. I won't get preaching, but I felt preaching in that because you were speaking of a process that represents a process.
Yes, sir.
You know, because you speaking of the bread and the wine, and that represents the process, of course, that our Savior went through to secure our salvation. He went through a process. You know, and his process was painful. It was agonizing. It was bloody and gory, but he went through a process.
But it had a glorious outcome.
It had a glorious outcome.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
we understand when you trust in the process, it won't always be easy. It won't always seem favorable. It won't always feel good. But at the end of it all, if you trust the process, there's a glorious reward at the end.
Yes, sir.
In 2020, we're just stopping by to encourage you all to trust the process, do the work, no shortcuts, whatever it takes to accomplish your goals. Trust God, trust yourself, surround yourself with the right people, get the right training, grasp the right understanding, know what you're getting yourself into. And at the end of your process, it's our prayer, myself and my brother, J.K. Stevens, we hope that you can make it through the end and your 2020 will be better than any year you've had before.